Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is my Queer Lit Readathon Round 12 TBR video. I know I said in my announcement video that I don't know how to have realistic expectations of myself, but that's actually not true. This is way more books than I'm going to be able to make it through in a week. I know that, you know that. Stray cat in my front yard at the moment knows that, purely because I can't bend the fabric of space-time. So this is my TBR for the whole of December. Like, I'll just be honest with you. I'm gonna keep chipping away at these books throughout the month, even after the readathon is over, because there is just no way that I can manage all of these in a mere 7 days. It's just not possible. I'm gonna try my best. I feel like I might be able to make it through half, but we'll see. Not aiming for a full board blackout this round. I usually do, but this time just can't do it. Which is fine because the bingo board, as always, is optional. The 3 books that I'm going to attempt the hardest to read are the 3 group books, and then the first book that I pick up and the one I'm definitely going to get through, if nothing else, is this one. Just because, given what's going on at the moment, this one feels like the most important. So I'm definitely going to read this one, even if none of the others. So this is You Exist Too Much by Zaina Arafat. This will cover me for Progress Pride Flag and also group read. And also, literally all of these books will count for the Progress Pride Flag prompt. You will notice that that is the flag that has black and white on it. So any book in existence is going to count for this prompt. As long as it's queer, obviously. But they all will. There's no way that you can go wrong with that. So I'm just saying. So I'm going to say it every time, but just know, every book on my TBR, every book on your TBR is going to count for the Progress Pride Flag prompt. Next book is The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas, also a group book. Also will cover me for the Pride Flag prompt. I've just read Cemetery Boys, absolutely loved it. That book is in my soul now, I think, and so I'm very excited for this. And then Tim Timaro and the Subterranean Heartsick Blues by HS Valley is our 3rd group book. This will cover me for the same 2 prompts as the other 2, and also for Southern Hemisphere author, and potentially also small press. I will research that and find out definitively and tell you in my wrap-up. I'll tell you about the ebooks before I forget about them. The next book on my TBR is Caught in the Act by Courtney Act / Shane Jenek. You may notice that this is also the book that I recommended for this prompt on the Queer Lit Readathon Instagram posts. I have not read this, in the interest of full disclosure. I'm interested in this as a memoir of Courtney Act because she's a quite famous Australian TV personality, and it would be interesting to know more about her journey to where she is now. She started out a really long time ago on Australian Idol, which is a relic of the past, like I am apparently, and now she's just everywhere. So this will be a very interesting memoir to read and just to find out more about Courtney and Shane, and I'm very excited for it. But I wrecked it for that prompt even though I hadn't read it, because it's the only book that I can think of that was either by a drag performer or about one. Don't engage with drag very much. I appreciate it very much as an art form, and one of my favorite movies of all time is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, but that's not exactly a drag movie. It's a movie in which the characters are drag performers, and I feel like drag is more of a backdrop to the film than part of the plot. Not that it's not part of the plot, but it's not the central focus of it either, really. It's not about drag in the way that RuPaul's Drag Race is about drag. And unfortunately, the only drag that I've had contact with in real life is the kind where you sit down and listen to the audience being insulted for an hour. And I'm just really not into that. It's not the only kind of drag, and I know that, because it's possible that I might like other forms more, but I just don't seek it out because I haven't found a lot of entertainment value in it for myself in the past. But I am open to learning more, and I feel like Courtney's memoir is going to be the first step in that journey of mine. So hopefully I can get to it. I have it on audio from my library. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get to it. So Caught in the Act will cover me for Southern Hemisphere author, Pride Flag again, and also by or about a drag performer. Next book is The Raging Storm by Anne Cleeves, which is the third in the Two Rivers series, which stars a gay detective called Matthew Venn. This is the same author who writes Shetland and Vera. There was also a TV show of the first book in this series. Unfortunately, they've cancelled it and they're not going to make any more, which is frankly homophobic. But we're not going to talk about it. At least we're getting more books, and that's something. So Raging Storm will cover me for Pride Flag. It will also cover me for Continued because it's the third book in a series and I've read the other two, and it's also going to cover me for Small Town Queers because it takes place in a small village. The name I can't remember. It's near Bristol, I think. And then the next book on my TBR, we won't talk about these two just yet. The next book on my TBR is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. This will cover me for Pride Flag. It may also cover me for Small Press. I don't know if Peachtree is owned by someone else, but I will find out. And it also covers me for Most Recently Acquired, although in the interest of full disclosure, I received these two books in the same order. I'm also sort of going to attempt to get to this one in December, but I'm not going to commit to that. This is an anthology of speculative YA fiction, all queer, all written by queer authors. My friend Henry is in here, so that's very exciting. It has the best title any anthology has ever had. Like, hello. May also get to this one in December. It's not officially on this TBR, but yes, just so you know, I got these at the same time, but I'm choosing this one because I recently read Hell Followed With Us and I am obsessed. And then the next book on my TBR is The Free People's Village by Sim Kern, who has been recently getting very famous on TikTok. First for the Trans Rights Readathon and more recently for very good, very informative posts about Palestine. And I've just been very excited to read this book. Shout out to Shelf Lovers in Wooloowin in Brisbane, who I will link down below. That site is amazing. They're a queer indie bookstore that's recently opened. I haven't had the chance to go there in person, but I'm hoping one day I can. It's just amazing. And I check the website every few days for new stock just to see what they have in. And pretty much anything that I think, oh, I should see if Shelf Lovers has that, they have it. The only thing that they haven't had is this one, but luckily Glee Books came through for me with this one. But they had this one, which literally no other store in Australia has had in stock to my knowledge. Like, you can order it from all of them as a special order, but they haven't ordered it in under their own steam. So I'm just, yeah, I'm really excited that they had it. This will cover me for Pride Flag, obviously, and also for Small Press. This is published by Levine Querido, who are a independent publishing company. And yeah, I'm just very, very excited to get to this one. And if you follow Sim on TikTok or Instagram, you will have seen them say that the color of this is indescribable and the camera doesn't do it justice. Like, that looks like a shade somewhere between orange and red. In real life, it's like a neon peach. It's beautiful. And hopefully I can get to this one, if not during the readathon, then soon, because I'm very keen. And then the next book on my TBR is Meg, Jo, Beth and Amy by Ray Tessiero and Brie Indigo, which is a graphic novel modern retelling of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So this will cover me for Pride Flag, obviously, also for graphic novel, also for middle grade, and also for the prompt former DNF. I did a reading vlog a couple of months ago in which I was going to read this and then got to like page 5 and put it down and didn't pick it back up again and decided I wouldn't read it for the vlog. And the reason for that is because the sisters are talking about what they would like to receive for Christmas if they were going to receive presents, and Jo says that she would like to receive like hardcovers of, I can't remember if she says her favorite books or like classic books, but it's one of those two things. And the book that she name drops is Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. And I was just like, really? Are we really doing this? If you're not aware, Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, that's the author who wrote The Virgin Suicides, by the way. Middlesex is about an intersex main character, but I would not put any money on the rep being good. I think it's probably about as good as the Ace rep in On Chesil Beach by Ian McEwan, and by all accounts that rep is not great. And I just think if you're gonna write a middle grade graphic novel, a queer middle grade graphic novel, you could maybe not give Jeffrey Eugenides more of a platform over someone else, maybe more deserving. I haven't read the book and I'm not into sex, so like I can't speak with any kind of authority on this. I don't think the rep in that book would be good. I have no interest in reading it. I think it would be exactly the kind of like literary fiction written by a cis man who thinks he's the first person to ever do this kind of a book. And I'm just feeling some type of way about the fact that it was specifically mentioned in here. But it's not a deal breaker, so we'll just get past it. I'll get past it and hopefully the rest of the graphic novel will be good. But yeah, I put it down because I just didn't want to deal with it at that point in time, but we'll give it another chance. And then the next book on my TBR is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marske. Okay, so this is going to be my choose your own prompt book, and my choose your own prompt is bullied into it because I can't remember specifically if my friend Carter has bullied me into reading this book, but they have bullied me into reading a great many other books, and also I'm bullying myself into reading this book because this is the Illumicrate edition, which is just gorgeous. Look at that. I've purchased the Illumicrate editions of the other two books in this trilogy without having read this one first. So you better hope I like this one, otherwise Facebook's gonna have to come through for me in the Buy Swap Sell group that I'm in. But I'm sure that I will like it. The only thing that's making me a little bit hesitant is that it's sort of Sorcerer to the Crown vibes, and I didn't like that book, but that book wasn't queer, so there's something in here for me that that one didn't have. And this will also cover me for Pride Flag and Southern Hemisphere author because Freya Marske is Australian and she lives here. And then the last book on my TBR is one that I decided like literally 10 minutes ago that I was going to read because it sits like right there in front of my desk, and I was looking at it and I was like, yes. So the book is It's Been a Pleasure, Noni Blake by Claire Christian. This will cover me for Pride Flag. Again, it will cover me for Relatable because Noni is Australian and so am I. I think it will cover me for Small Press. It's published by Text Publishing and they're not like a conglomerate or anything. So pretty sure that will count. And it's also going to cover me for the prompt Holiday. In the announcement videos, we've described this prompt as being a book that takes place at or around a certain holiday, but we're not placing any kind of seasonal or calendar restrictions on that. It could be any holiday at any point in the year. I am choosing to interpret it a little differently and go with the fact that the main character goes on a holiday in this book, because we didn't say that you couldn't do it that way. Again, I'm not aiming for a board blackout, but I think I'm going to get 6. Yes, I will get 6 bingos if I manage to get through all of these, which I won't, but if a miracle happens and I do, the bingo board will look like this. So that's my TBR for the readathon and also just for December in general, and maybe for half of January too, because I either read nothing or I read like 15 things and there is no in between. So we'll find out which one it is. If you've read any of these and you would like to tell me what you thought of them, please feel free to do so in a comment down below. If you've got a TBR video up, please link me to it because I would love to watch. Otherwise, just tell me what you're going to be reading for this readathon. Tell me what you've chosen for your choose your own prompt. And yeah, thank you very much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.